SMT Nation, we back. There's a big development going on with Verizon. It looks like they're going to be acquiring a new carrier. Well, I shouldn't say a new carrier. They're going to acquire a regional provider in Texas. Okay, West Central Wireless is the name of the company. They operate a mobile network and they operate a fixed wireless network in which they sell those services to people. And actually, they sell service to T-Mobile customers, Verizon customers, and AT&T customers. They offer coverage in areas where those carriers don't have native coverage. So this is essentially Verizon doing what they do, in which they just buy carriers. They did the same thing with like Bluegrass and Kentucky, and they did it a lot previously, with Altel, and they've been doing this for a long time. All right, so this is just another thing that they're doing. It looks like the regional carrier is going basically the way of the dodo bird. All right, so it's going all national with all these carriers. But there's some really intriguing details here that's probably going to make the Verizon network a lot better in these places. So here are some of the details. Okay, so for starters, this particular deal is not going to impact WCW customers, the people that have the home internet, the fixed wireless, and the people that have the mobile. They're not going to be affected. Their plans, their rates, their coverage, all of it is going to be unchanged. All right, so you don't have to worry about any of that. The only thing that's going to change for them is they're going to be able to get like Verizon deals, right? Because it's going to be a Verizon owned company. So like promotions, and plans and stuff, if they want to upgrade or change things, they can do that. But if they want things to stay the same, they absolutely can. Additionally, the reason why I think this is important for Verizon is because it addresses weakness in coverage. It gives them native networking, and it also bolsters their spectrum holdings. So let me show you guys some things here. One of the things that Verizon's going to get out of this from WCW is additional 700 megahertz licenses, where Verizon has 10 by 10 megahertz national. Now they're going to get some additional bandwidth there. I think they have a 10 by 10 slice, or it's in 2 blocks or something like that, but they have it. Okay, so that's going to give them a boost there. That's low band. That'll give them the coverage. It'll give them, range, just the low band. Additionally, there's more low band. There's 850 megahertz, which I think they're actually utilizing for HSPA coverage. So for Verizon, that's going to become N5, Band 5, DSS, whatever. I think Verizon does have some of that. All right, so if you look at Verizon's coverage here, here's the Band 13 for Verizon, the dreaded Band 13, the low band. You'll see how they got that coverage across the nation. Here's Verizon's 850 megahertz, the Band 5. It's fragmented in Texas. All right, it's in about half the state. All right, so there's that block A, and then here's block B. This gives them some additional bandwidth there. That's going to be huge for them. All right, that'll make the DSS 5G much more enjoyable for those customers in those places if it's been offered there in some of those counties. Some areas they don't even have the 850, so this might include some of those little PAs and counties you guys see here in these little blocks. So that kind of just depends. But in some areas, you're going to be seeing like an additional 10 by 10 and 850. So that's big. There's also some AWS there. Okay, so let's take a look at Verizon's AWS. You'll see in the metro areas, they're good, mostly, right? So there's the block A AWS. Here's block B. You'll see how they got some, right? But they're going to get some more out of this. I think it's the AWS one that, they're currently deploying WCW they're doing as band 4. Verizon will be turning that into band 66, I'm sure, and putting it on all their getting that extra licensing on their sites. Plus they get those network assets. They get the site access assets from WCW, and they get the fixed wireless home internet customers. There's also some band 2 in there as well, folks. There's some PCS for Verizon, and I will tell you guys that Verizon has a bad PCS situation in Ohio, in my county especially, and it doesn't look all that much better in Texas. So that's going to be a welcomed upgrade as well. Okay, so that's an additional 7.5 megahertz. The AWS, I think, uh, I don't know if it's like 10 megahertz or 7.5. I forget what it was. But lots of little bits and pieces of more spectrum is going to make the network better for them. By the way, there's also 600 megahertz owned by this company. So Verizon's probably going to look to move on from that. they'll probably be shopping it to either T-Mobile or Dish. Me personally, I would say that it should probably go to Dish. The problem is, does Dish even have the money? They just had to raise $2 billion in capital on senior notes. I don't know if they're going to use that money or they're going to, to build out the network, or if they can afford to buy the spectrum. I'm not even sure if it's going to be that expensive. Remember, this is it's basically like here, right, where these licenses are. Okay, um, West Central, right? So Central, slightly west. So where this Texas thing is, right here. Okay, um, but I mean, it might just end up with T-Mobile, and that makes sense too. The EBS BRS licenses that they have, that's N41 spectrum. That makes sense to be sold to T-Mobile as well. So maybe just in one fell swoop, you sell the 600 megahertz, and then the 2500, you sell it all to T-Mobile. I think that makes some sense there. All right, so Verizon's going to have, the ability to have AT&T and T-Mobile roaming on their native network now. They're also going to have these home internet customers fixed wireless access in these markets here. So I think what Verizon does at that point is you keep those customers on that network on the fixed wireless until you can get C-band in those areas, right? Or if you do have C-band in those, you get them moved over, send them new gateways and gear, and sell them the Verizon home internet. If they got the wireless service with you, give them that discount. 25, $35 a month, whatever. I don't know what this company is selling this stuff for. They call it West Central Net, by the way. That's the fixed wireless service. So they do it over LTE. Here's their pricing: $20 a month for a half a gig, $60 a month for 3.5 gigs, and then they got a commercial plan, $30 for 1.5 gigs. Oh my goodness, that is horrible and awful all at the same time. This is horror awful. These poor folks, they're actually going to be saved by Verizon. Seriously. Oh my goodness, because this is where they serve. If they can get the Verizon home internet, remember it's unlimited. Your speeds are going to be, up to 300 megabits per second on C-band for downlink, and then uplink you'll be at like 20 megabits. And then they got more of these assets to bolster the network. The mobile experience should get better. Sites will get upgraded. Sites will be modernized. This is good for those folks there in these counties, 26 counties. Um, wow. And then so they're gonna get they're it's a good transaction in my opinion, folks. I don't see how this is a situation that's a lose. The only thing, I think the carriers AT&T and T-Mobile are going to be pissed because they're going to have to start cutting checks to Verizon when their customers are roaming on Verizon. Uh, but yeah, that's everything for this update. Verizon making moves. This acquisition, they're going to have fixed wireless customers. They're going to have wireless customers. They're going to have network assets, tower sites, spectrum, customers. This is a good transaction for them. And again, I don't know how many customers this serves. I'm guessing it's not many. Okay. I don't know how well populated these counties are. But I've never heard of it. I know that some of the counties that they serve is like Tom Green, Howard, Glasscock, Reagan, Crockett, Sterling. I don't know if you guys know these places. Uh, but it says here that most of their tower sites run on microwave backhaul. So this might be a situation where Verizon explores IEB. This might be a situation where Verizon explores fiber. But we'll see how this plays out. I will give you guys a follow up when I find out more about this deal. But this seems like a good transaction in my opinion, and it's going to help Verizon and probably those customers too, because I don't think WCW was doing that much for their customers. It seems like it was very minimal, modest offers, and Verizon can give them so much more and probably more competitive rates as well. So they're going into new areas. I'm excited about this to help these people out and to see what Verizon does with it. I don't see this as a negative at all, in my opinion. This is the same situation, where T-Mobile, acquired like Shentel and Swiftel. T-Mobile's got a larger capex, and they've got a national coverage capability. They could offer those people more, and I think that's the same type of situation here. So what do you guys think of this? You guys think this is going to work out nicely for Verizon, the folks of these counties? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this. You are the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard. Like, share, and subscribe for more, and turn on that bell notification icon to never miss an upload. Links are in the description for all things going on with the channel, my Patreon. We got memberships now on YouTube. You guys can join. It's right next to the subscribe button, next to my channel name, or you can use the link that's in the description and all this stuff. For contact, my Gmail address for all business inquiries and all the other things. They're down there in the description. And big shout out to Ian. All right, on Twitter where he was discussing this transaction. So big shout out to him. Thanks again for watching, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of the day. And parting words for you, words of positivity. Every new day is an opportunity to be great. Go out there and be great. Thanks for watching again. See you all in the next one. Peace.